The two movies that I recently watched this week have definitely something in common, and that is a sincere and genuine attempt in telling a good story. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel guys, and in this video I will be sharing my thoughts on the two films that I watched in the theaters this week. One is Merry Christmas, which is directed by Sriram Raghavan, and the second is Hanuman or HanuMan. I don't know how it's pronounced. I think people are pronouncing it in both ways, but I'm just going to call it Hanuman for now, which is directed by Prashant Verma. Now, this is a film that I have been extremely eager to watch because of how Sriram Raghavan has directed his previous ventures, be it Ek Hasina Thi or Johnny Gaddar or Badlapur, and of course, Andhadhund. With every movie, he always brings something new to the table when it comes to storytelling. Merry Christmas also offers you the same, but let me give you a disclaimer that if you are walking into this film thinking that you will get something in the similar lines of Andhadhund, then you guys are setting yourself up for disappointment, because this movie is not supposed to be that. So let's first start with the screenplay and the overall story. The film is very much dialogue heavy, so one has to get extremely invested in the conversation between the lead pair. As far as the story goes, I really liked the plot point, but a good story or a good plot point can only become a great movie when it is backed by a really strong screenplay. Here the screenplay was a hit in a lot of places, but it also misses the mark in certain areas. Like for example, when the conversation between the two lead pairs were happening, there were parts where I was completely engrossed. But there were also certain areas where the screenplay was kind of losing my concentration and attention. Now, the quote-unquote twist of the film is actually very good, but it did not give me that shock value that I was expecting. Because honestly, I did not see that twist coming. I thought it was very well thought out. But I guess personally, I wanted to feel a little bit more shook and have that OMG moment. But that's just what I felt. You guys let me know if you've watched the film. Did you feel the reveal a little bit underwhelming or not? Or maybe for you guys, it was like absolutely shocking. Now, the thing which really carries the film for me personally are the performances. I mean, with Sriram Raghavan as the director, I was expecting good performance nonetheless. The story needed both the characters to have this sense of intrigue and mystery, because you will kind of get the sense from the very beginning that yeah, both of them are hiding something for sure. So I think that portrayal by the lead actors was done really well. Firstly, I loved this pairing. It was such a good decision to cast like Katrina and Vijay Sethupathi, because you don't get to see these kind of on-screen couple very often. After I had watched the trailer, I was like, oh my god, I want to see like if this on-screen chemistry works or not, because this is not a very conventional pairing. And to my pleasant surprise, it works for a very large extent of the film. As I said previously that the movie is extremely dialogue heavy, and the major chunk of these dialogues form the love story between the lead pair. So imagine if both of them did not have that on-screen chemistry. Oh my god, this movie would have like been a disaster then. So between Vijay Sethupathi and Katrina Kaif, Vijay definitely has the edge. He's mysterious, he's quirky, and he shows amazing nuances in his expressions. Especially in the last 10 minutes of the film when you get all the characters in the police station. I mean, that sequence is amazing. Katrina also performs well for the most part of the film, though I felt that the scene where the reveal happens and she has that emotional breakdown, that felt a little underwhelming. Because I was thinking from her character's perspective that the rage and the frustration that she is holding inside of her, and you know, outside she has to portray her calm self. So when she breaks down, when she gets to her breaking point, like she needed to be mad, she needed to cry and howl like a baby, but that frustration truly does not get translated on screen. Also, I want to specifically mention the ending 10 minutes of the film, because it's very offbeat, and that entire sequence heavily depends on the background score and the expressions of the actor. I feel that these kind of climactic endings, like these unconventional endings, are so rare. You don't get to see these in mainstream cinema, and I feel that the entire sequence was executed really well. So I specifically wanted to mention this in my review. So overall, I think that this was a great story, but it was given just about a good enough screenplay and not a greatly engaging script that it actually deserved. Now, technically, oh my god, this film is absolutely stunning. Be it the background score or the sound design, they are just flawless. But the cherry on top is actually the cinematography and the color grading. Camera work is spectacular. Now, because the movie is set during Christmas Eve, so obviously they had to show the festive mood, but because this is also falling under the thriller category, the world building also needed to feel a little bit mysterious and eerie. So that balance was created beautifully. I think personally for me, I feel a tad bit let down is because of the trailer. I think the trailer kind of misled me to think this movie would be something else. I was not expecting Andhadhun for sure, but when I got to watch the trailer, like there was a Hindi trailer, there was a Tamil trailer, and both the trailers were cut in a different way. So in my head, I had that reference point that, oh, this is going to be something extremely out of the box movie. Because my biggest reference point always becomes the teaser or the trailer. So for example, if the trailer is showing me massy stuff, I am not going to, expect nuanced character writing from that. So if I am seeing a trailer which is edited, two trailers are edited differently. One is giving me a thriller kind of feeling, one is giving me a horrorish feeling. So that would become my reference point when I walk into the theater. So that is why I feel a tad bit let down with the screenplay. A lot of things largely worked for me, but some things here and there just did not. But moving forward, I would love to see such refreshing and unconventional on-screen couples in more stories basis that. But you guys can let me know what are your thoughts on Merry Christmas in the comments below. Now, the second film that I'm so eager to talk about that I watched this week is Hanuman. Now, I'm really sorry. Midway, I realized after I recorded my Merry Christmas review that the microphone is not working. So I had to stop my recording. And if the setting is looking a little different, I'm sorry. But getting back to the review of this particular film, now for Hanuman, I had no context whatsoever. The only reference point I had was the teaser and the trailer. So I had reacted to the teaser. I did not react to the trailer because I had already watched it on my own. But these are the only two reference points I had because I was not aware of the actors or the director's previous work. So, but I was still intrigued. Firstly, this movie deals with a genre that I personally love. That is superheroes. And when I was watching Hanuman, I couldn't help but remember another superhero film which was also very rooted to a village, which is a Malayalam film, Minnal Murli. Now, of course, both movies are extremely poles apart, but there were certain similarities in the film that I couldn't help notice. Number one is the intent with which the film is made. You could see the director's vision as well as sincerity. Second is the loser protagonist trope, where the main hero who actually gets the superpowers, he is, well, not really popular. Third similarity that I found is the threat not being way too larger than life, but rooted to a certain place. Now, Hanuman being a Telugu film, the treatment is done very differently. Even though we have a troublemaker protagonist, the hero trope of the mass entry or the mass moments is still there. And there is nothing wrong with that. It completely works in the favor of the film. After the debacle of Adipurush, a lot of people were very skeptic, and rightfully so, that okay, fine, you're making a superhero film and you're taking inspiration from one of our Hindu gods. The way how that integration has been done, so that's why I said in the beginning that you can feel that there is a serious and a sincere intent to make a film and not just capitalize on the emotions of the people. In whatever proportions Lord Hanuman angle had to be used, it was done just about right. Nothing more, nothing less, because most of the focus was always on the hero. Now, one of the strongest points in the screenplay for me that worked is the comedy. Like, it was very well done because I watched the film in Telugu with subtitles. So for me, the subtitle work was done really nice, and the dialogue delivery and the comic timing between the actors was presented really well. If you have watched the film in the Hindi dub, please let me know how was the dub. The aspect that weakens the screenplay for me is that there is too much time given to the love story part. Honestly, in these kind of movies, if it's not really adding too much to the plot point, it needn't be such a big focus. That's just my personal opinion. You guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, the villain origin story is actually how the movie starts, and I quite enjoyed it because it kind of shows that even if you have good intent in the beginning, when that intent turns into an obsession, it can be so detrimental. Another thing that I want to appreciate about this film is how intelligently they have used their budget. If I'm not wrong, this movie is made with a budget of 20 crores or lesser, I think so. Please, I do not have that figure in mind. I had read it, but right now I cannot recall while recording it. But even if it is, say, 20 crores, for example, the way it has been utilized so strategically in the VFX is absolutely commendable. Like, yes, it's not perfect, obviously, because of budgetary constraint, but there are certain shots which are stunning. Also, another fact that I liked about the story is that, okay, I'm not really giving spoilers here, but the fact that the hero, when he acquires the superpowers, he's still not invincible. And you understand why that is the case, because in the end, the last 10 minutes of this film, you actually understand, okay, now the protagonist has truly, in the truest sense, acquired the powers. Because I was also thinking while watching the film that, okay, you have acquired Lord Hanuman's powers, but you are still not that invincible. Because we know that Lord Hanuman is like the epitome of strength, but it takes the protagonist the entire journey to realize it. So it was not like, oh, I got the power, so now I'm totally invincible, I can thrash bad guys. I like how they did not do that. And it makes sense because this is part of a complete universe that is getting built by Prashant Verma. So I absolutely admire his vision. We really need superhero films, man. Like, this is such an untapped genre in our film industry and across languages. I am saying this. Now, when it comes to performances, the standout definitely for me was Teja Sacha, because he had that innocence and that quirkiness that was required to play this character. He has that naughty face. He totally has that naughty face that you want this character to have. Winner I was also good. I understand, because when I was watching the film, I was like, oh, there would be a couple of people, or there would be a section of viewers who will be like, no, he's not as strong of an antagonist to fight back the powers of Lord Hanuman. But I feel in terms of the origin story, because here also Teja's character, he's figuring out, right? He doesn't, know his powers that well. He's also figuring out. So I felt that with that aspect, the villain was just perfect. Amrita here as the love interest, I mean, she was okay, but honestly for me, the too much focus on the love story was kind of taking that attention away from the main plot. See, there's nothing wrong in having a love angle in the film, but for me personally, I would have wanted, yeah, keep the love angle, but explore the brother sister aspect also more. Like, that is such a pivotal part of the storyline. I thought that was explored less in the movie. Now, in BGM and technical aspects, the movie fares well, but the biggest applaud I definitely want to give it to the VFX team. It proves that, if there is the intent, and with limited budget also, you can actually churn out a good product. This movie is definitely a family entertainer that you can watch, because it blends that aspect of that massy hero with the superhero genre, but keeping the story rooted to a village. So that combination worked really well for me particularly. But I would love to know your thoughts on Hanuman if you have watched the film. And these were my thoughts on both Merry Christmas and Hanuman. I hope you guys enjoyed. I think this has become quite a long review, but I hope you watched the entire thing. I hope that's my only hope. So anyway, that was the review for both these films. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and with that, I will end this video here, and I will see you soon on my next one. Bye.